The future perfect continuous tense. This tense is used to describe actions that will have been continuing up to a point in the future. The structure is as follows. Will have been plus present participle. Examples. By tomorrow, I will have been working here for 5 years. She will have been studying for 3 hours by the time you arrive. We will have been driving all night by the time we reach the mountains. He will have been teaching at the university for a decade by next semester. They will have been renovating their house for 2 months by the end of July.
By next week, I will have been living in this city for 2 years. You will have been waiting for more than an hour by the time the doctor sees you. By the time we meet, she will have been working nonstop for 8 hours. We will have been trying to contact you for over a day by tomorrow morning. He will have been playing the piano for 10 years by his next birthday.
By the time the sun rises, they will have been hiking through the night. I will have been jogging for an hour by the time you wake up. By the end of this month, she will have been teaching here for a quarter of a century. We will have been discussing this issue for 3 hours by the time the meeting ends. You will have been using the software for 6 months by the time the trial expires.
He will have been living abroad for 5 years by the time he returns home. By the time the concert starts, they will have been setting up the stage for 3 days. I will have been practicing yoga for a year by next spring. She will have been preparing for her exams for weeks by the time they start. We will have been waiting for the rain to stop for hours by the time it clears.
By tomorrow, you will have been working on this project for 2 straight weeks. He will have been trying to solve this puzzle for hours by the time he gives up. They will have been traveling for a full day by the time they arrive at their destination. I will have been studying French for 5 years by the time I graduate. By next winter, we will have been living together for 3 years.
She will have been researching this topic for months by the time she presents her findings. You will have been working out regularly for a year by this summer. He will have been fasting for 12 hours by the time breakfast is ready. They will have been watching the series for a week straight by the time they finish. By the time we get to the beach, I will have been driving for 6 hours.
She will have been working as a volunteer for half a year by the time she leaves. We will have been planning our vacation for weeks by the time we book anything. You will have been looking forward to the holidays for months by the time December arrives. You will have been saving money for a new car for over a year by the time he buys it. They will have been building their dream home for 2 years by the time it's finished.
I will have been learning to play the guitar for several months by the time I give my first performance. By the time the party starts, she will have been cooking all day. We will have been trying to reach you on the phone for hours by the time you notice. You will have been missing your family a lot by the time you see them again.
He will have been running his own business for 5 years by the end of the year. They will have been looking for a new house for months by the time they finally find one. I will have been working on improving my health for a year by my next checkup. By the time the trees bloom, she will have been gardening every weekend for months. We will have been going to the same school for over a decade by the time we graduate. You will have been anticipating the release of this movie for years by the time it comes out.
He will have been collecting stamps for his entire life by the time he donates his collection. They will have been sailing around the world for 2 years by the time they return. I will have been meditating daily for 5 years by next month. By the time she finishes her PhD, she will have been studying for over 8 years. We will have been living in a digital age for decades by the time technology evolves further.